Hey, good morning guys. Hi, Six Shooter. How are you, buddy? We have here the ZD Racing 1/7 scale UT4 or Ultra 4. And why did I take that? ZD Racing had a good idea to make 1/7 scale cars. The idea is good. They are the only one who do that. Like FS Racing FTX do the DR8 or Conrad Wheelie, this car here. This was also super good idea because the TMSO DB8 disappears. We get no more parts for it. And we have not a lot from that type of cars. I hope that other brands will do it. They do it and they do it well. It's a really good surprise. Then I see that baby. So I know it's ZD Racing. ZD Racing is not a good brand. It's cheap, but you get cheap plastics and cheap alloys for cheap money, for a cheap price. That's okay. Cheap for cheap is alright, and heavy money for heavy stuff is also alright. So, but because they have cheap plastic and alloy, I was a little bit thinking what's gonna happen with that weight. Usually ZD cars have 4 kilograms in 1/8 scale. It's not fully 1/8. They have a little bit smaller, less plastics at suspension than what we used to have by Serpent, Low Z, TMSO and that stuff. It's just I give a French name to that type of alloy. It's Coca-Cola recycled alloy. So for a soda can it's okay, for an RC car in 4 kilograms car I have one here, and we're gonna talk first about that one, and you will see after that we go to that one, and then in this moment in the beginning in the video you're gonna say, why did you talk us about that? We want to know about that. But I have to talk about that so you better understand what happened here. First of all, no fear, I'm not disappointed. And just a little bit at yes or no between, because the car is not so cheap. To have it here in France, if you take the RTR, don't take the RTR, the electronic is bad. I take the RRR. So I paid 450, 500 euros to get one here. The RTR is about 650 to 700 euros. That's the price from an Arma Mojave that we know it's an awesome truck. So 1/8 scale. This is a standard 1/8 scale from ZD Racing. The trucker version was already sold by Hobby King and Hobby King Berserker. Yes, that plastic was so weak. I was in a field, take a turn, car over rolls and break A-arms. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. So, a bad truck. We had Diffs issue in this truck. And it's clear this was in a flat field in 4S. So in 6S the differential was dead. And when we go in some harder terrain, we bent shock shafts, shock towers. I would say the plastic are really just cheap. This costs about 160 euros. And then if you put the electronic then and all the stuff, you are already on the price from a TMSO rival, which is a real good car. I was surprised from that. I fear in the beginning because I know it's a V car, but it's a V car with TMSO experience in there. You have really better plastics, really better diffs in that car. Nothing to do with the V car version, because I know I had V cars. So the TMSO rival is a really good truck for the price from that one. This one is a little bit bigger, okay. So if you want to get one for your kids, just go light on the electronics, make a cool setup to not go too fast, and you have to disassemble all three differential, make sure they work well, because out from the box this one has already a problem with the center diff. It's really noisy in front and in rear because it's not shined, and so take care. This is also the differential from a standard 1/8 scale ZD racing car. It's just as so big as a Traxxas Slash diff, so it's not a real 1/8 scale size differential. When you see the publicity for that one, they say we have made bigger differential. So in the beginning I really think they had done 1/7 scale differential. This means the size from a new Revo or Emax, Traxxas Max differential in that truck. And the on-road especially we see that. Fact is, this differential is just 5 mm bigger than this one and makes just from that one a real normal 1/8 scale differential we used to have in Timesso, Lozi, Armor and all that stuff. So nothing special. So, and take a good look at the A-arms. These are the arms from a 1/8 scale. I'll say a little bit smaller than what we used to have on our standard buggies. The plastic is relatively hard. It's really fast broken. So, we have all in mind. Alright, we can begin with that baby. So, first of all, it looks great. A little bit too much, what we tell here in French, bling bling. Too much chrome and all that stuff, but many like it, so it's okay. We have the reservoir from the shocks, we have the back mirror, we have a cool interior with all the stickers in there, we have the shift, we have the drivers with the helmet, we have really a lot of details. We have the rubber here, fishnets, we have the cooler, we have rear lights, front lights and hub lights. That's really cool. That means they had the good idea to do what the other nut had done. This is just a big laser nut. And speaking about cheap or not cheap cars, we see big brands do high priced car. There was not okay, like the laser nut. The laser nut cost a lot, and it's a 1/10 scale stretched to a 1/8 scale truggy wheelbase. That means that size of a length, 370 mm wheelbase, heavy tires, and the DB Pro is a super 1/10 scale car. I love the DB Pro. It's really an awesome truck, but stretch it in the laser nut, it's too heavy. The tires are too heavy. We had a lot of transmission breakdown about that. We have a tiny 60 can motor in 4S who begin to be hot because it's over geared, and we have not enough power with this little motor because the laser nut is about 4 kilograms. That is the weight from a 1/8 scale stock buggy, and it's way too heavy for this little motor. Imagine you say a competitor in 1/8 scale buggy, you had to drive with a 3660 motor. What he gonna tell you? Are you nuts? So, and we see cheap car surprises. The FTX DR8 FS Atom here, we can get it at a time at 330 euros here in Europe. The normal price is about 400, but even for that money, a 6S car of that size with a really cool quality for cheap. FS and FTX are cheap brands, but this car is okay. So we hope to get the same surprise with that one. We also had the good surprise with the Timesso for 300 bucks. I was not expected such a good car, but I'm really happy with. And we have disappointment by other brands like Arm or such that stuff. Because of Horizon, I'll be sorry, but they are killing RC Sports. And Carrosserie. Carrosserie comes out and claims we are better than Arma. Fail. So what's gonna happen with that one? I don't know. What's gonna happen when drive? For those who know me, you exactly know. I have done the French version before, and just before that I have now here 5:30 in the morning. I wake up at 3:30 in the morning and do the German version, and yesterday I do the French version. And Six Shooter is surely also laughing in no. In the French unboxing that I have surely take my screwdriver and pull apart this car for look what it's in and how to go in and to discover what's in the truck. And that's alright, that's what I have done. So I already changed D3 oil in the differential. They are well filled with silicone oil, but too light. This is the stock oil. See, it's really light. And I let it in the rear, but I put harder oil in the center and harder in the front. This car is made for drive 6S, it's 6 kg. I don't gonna drive it wild, I don't gonna drive it in 6S to hit a 90. I wanna drive it cool. I have enough car to drive heavy. I have the Mojave for drive heavy. I have X-Max. I know Six Shooter don't like the Jax's X-Max, but I love this baby. It's really my squeeze ball. It's my squeegee. So I'm gonna drive that cool. So I wanna put a setup in 6S about 75 km an hour to have a cool run time, and I wanna have a suspension setup was really soft like a Emii Revo. I want to drive my car off-road, seeing the tires make that, and the car, the chassis live straight. And that's also what I tell you is the best to do with that car. Don't go hard. You want to see why in a few moments. So first of all, you get a wheelie bar rivets. The wheelie bar is really hard. No flex, and don't forget this is at the end from the car. You can land on it. So the fact this is so hard is bad, because you're gonna pull the power in the rear bumper, and if the bumper himself is also not flex, you're gonna put the hit in the shock tower. You have bearings on the wheel, but they are squeezed. First, I think that the nuts are too tight, so I untied the nuts, but the nuts cannot go to the bearings. They force the bearing and the axle. I cannot move it, so the bearings are squeezed. ZD Racing has bad bearings. We know it since a long time. It's double Z bearings, but not way far from the Arma bearing quality from the V1, V2, V3. These are really bad bearings, and they are already dyed. And when I get first this in the hand, I think, oh, I hope they don't do the same failure on the car. And the issue is they done it. At each wheel hex, which is you have a 10mm extension or 50mm extension, that's also something I don't like. I expected to have longer A-arms, beefier A-arms, but this is exactly the same A-arm as at the 1/8 scale. Front and rear are exactly the same. They use different plastic. It's more flex. Also, this part is more flex. So I really hope it's gonna be okay, because it's the 1/8 scale. We know that is a really bad thing. Who breaks? This one breaks. This one breaks. We have the same alloy parts with 2 kg more. The 1/8 scale are 4 kg, and we already destroy the hubs by try to jump. So because this car is 6 kg, take care, it's the same alloy. We have CVD in the front, but the articulation is too far here. The CVD is too long. We are already here in the end of the drive cups. That means you see here the suspension setup is stock out from the box as the right high. You can go way higher, but you cannot, because if you go high, if you pull the drop screw out, you can win easy 1 to 2 centimeter, 3/4 of an inch on suspension travel, but you cannot more steer because you have pressure from the CVD. Here even you see a little bit. You see that? Look at it now. I'm gonna show you something. So it's free, so it's locked. Huh? That's because the CVD are too long and this is too far away behind. Keep also in mind, if you have extension, if this is the steering, this is the tire. When you turn, you do that. The axle, this is the tire. If you have an offset, you are here, but the offset turns with you. That means that wheel made that. So you had to have a tough steering. You had to have a tough steering servo. So the stock servo is not enough. I hope the steering is good. And they have put a harder spring on the steering that the 1/8 scale because of that. So I come to that because in the rear, sorry, hey, we forget what we begin to talk. Between the wheel extension and the bearing they put shimes, but they put too much shimes. I had 3 shimes at each tire, and that squeezed the bearing. When I first pull it out from the box, I turn the tire and mean, oh, what's up with this differential? It's really hard. You feel really that something is stopping you to spin. But it was the bearings was squeezed. The pins here was forced in the car. I had to really use a hammer. Yeah, I know it's a screw in the middle. I put the screw out, but I had to hammer it out. Then I put shimes away and I put it again on it. I just use 2 shimes instead of 3, and so the tires are spinning really free. But before that, nope. So after I have done that, I still have some strange feeling and the differential. So I go to the differential, and there you have 2 shimes on one side, on the gear side, and the main gear side. You have a 1/2 millimeter shine. That's no more shine. That's a washer. So, but I let it because it's just on the side to be a little bit too tight and just between. So I let it. I think after 1 run with seat by Arma, it's the same thing. I remember when I get the infraction out from the box. We have also that strange feeling in the differential. After 1 run, all spins free. So I let that for a moment. Suspension. The moment is in the air because I have changed the shock oil and the pistons, and I want to tell you why. We have 4mm shock shaft. That's cool. That's better as Carrosserie. Carrosserie is 3.5 and they bend. Arma has 4mm, they don't bend. I hope this is good steel, because even if it's 6mm, you see it by GPM, you have 6mm, 7, 8mm shock shafts, and even they bend because it's too soft steel. So I hope this is good steel. And I have different reaction from the suspension between not front and rear, between left and right. So I think, okay, they have maybe 2 type of piston, and they put me, instead of front and rear, they put across the piston. And the fact is, nope. I have different piston, but I have on 4 piston I have 3 different. I have one with small holes, I have one with big holes, I have one expect stock, and one with big and small holes. That's one failure. The second failure is the same as Carrosserie. We have flex piston. Look at this, you can flex it. That means when you have a hard hit with the pressure, they flipped off, the oil goes through and the car bumps on the ground. That's what happens by Carrosserie. Carrosserie has really bad piston. So I put X-ray piston in there. I also try low Z and other stuff. It's alright because it's 7mm suspension, so you can put each piston you find. But the damper himself is a little bit bigger than the piston. That's normal, because so we can run through it. I know it, but it's a little bit too much. You have too much space between the pistons and the damper, so you have oil going left and right. That means you have to put harder oil in. I have put piston with small holes. I have tried here 450 CST, that means about 350, 370 V oil. Stock of the box, it's like a kit for toy. It's super bumpy. They have put too much load on the springs because of that weak piston and too fluid oil. It's really undrivable. It's just bumping around. It's a mess. Now it's better. Keep in mind I have no weight in there. When I put 2 battery motor ESC, gonna get 1.5 kilogram more. That means here we have 1 kilogram. Leave here. So we are a little bit stiff in the front and lighter in the rear. That's in the rear. That's how I like to drive my RCs. How I say I want to go to more off-road with that one, and I want him sit 50-50. That means if you have here full suspension travel, that he drives at the half and the tires can just work free and not make a setup for jumps. If I jump, I want to just make some cross style jumps, some long jumps, not too high from the ground, some nice looking jumps. No heavy stuff. So I'm gonna try it. If it's not enough, it's clear I'm gonna put thicker oil in there. You have spare tires. It's a real tire with a real hub, with a real nut. The tires feel good, and this is a RACING slash wheel, bigger made, and this is a BF Goodrich. This means it's really look like a RACING slash tire, just bigger. Feels good from the rubber, feels good from the foam. I don't know if they gonna explode or not, and I'm not gonna try it. I always say I don't buy this car to go so fast as my Arma Mojave. If I go wild, I take the Arma. So the cage is really nice looking. You have front light, headlight, backlights. You have rear cooler fans, look like something. You have the extinguisher, you have the back mirror, you have all details in the car who scale driver likes. You have even a shift. And for a cooling, because the motor size here, the ESC is then here, you have a grid opening for the air here, and you have an head opening here with protection on the side to get enough air in the electronic, but take care all what the tire will pull apart from the ground will also go through that. But this is something we're gonna test by the driving. We have fake reservoirs with the little forget the name on English from this part. So we have sway bars, of course. The setup from the sway bars is alright. The spring load, the springs are also alright for car. Many times we see also by big brands that the springs are too soft for the weight from the car. Here is not the case. Even I say I have released it so it's really soft with this oil, and it's enough. The most for the car. You cannot drive with this fully and loaded springs. You have to preload it. 2 pins in the front to open it. It's not an unboxing. If you means that's an unboxing, it's not an unboxing, because you have enough unboxing on the internet. You have enough from that cars shown the just 10-20 minutes. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, it's look like nice. Oh, it's amazing. Then 5-10 minute drives with cuts, and oh, it's drive great. It's powerful. Ah, you must have one. Goodbye. Here's the link. Give me my money. From that type of unboxing you have enough. This is more talk about it. I say it's too much chrome. No, I don't tell it. I tell it in French and German, not in English even this time, so it's too much chrome. The plastics from the cage are not flexible enough. That's bad. It's really hard, and this car is heavy. So that's not a good thing. I really like that type of plastics. Look at this. This is really nice flex. This is what we expect on a cage to not be destroyed if we overroll. So I'm gonna try to not overroll it. I don't gonna crash it to test it. I don't gonna overroll it to test it. I wanna drive cool with this car. The wires laying nice. The headlights are really good protected, even for water. The wires are in the back, so if you flip over the cage, you not have to be worried with the wires. Not like a low Z LMT. It's a detail, but it's a fact they have think on it. That's a cool thing. So in the car you have 2 bars in the top, but not like by Arma, you have no between bars. I think personally it's too much for me. On the Armas you have underneath, you have upper, it's really too much. So I prefer that one. It's a little bit funny because back in the time Austria cars had a chassis plate and an upper plate. It works super fine. Then someone comes with that one and puts the upper plate away, and now we come back to that. So why not just let an upper plate here? Don't know. The mechanical access from the whole car is a little bit more complicated than at Arma. That stuff, I say a little bit more complicated. I don't tell it's impossible or boring to do. You have no fast diff access, not to the center, not front and not rear. And if you work in the center, you have to put this away. The 4 screws here, the whole top plate comes with that. I don't understand why they put the screws from underneath in this. They could have done here just the thread in the alloy and screw it from the top in the alloy, so you can put the bar away without put the whole top plate away. But they do it, so let it so. We have here this alloy part with just screws here in the front bulkhead. That's something we had also back in the time, and we know it's wrong, because if you hit here you're gonna bend this or pull these 2 screws away from the plastic. It's just M3 screws, that's bad. The best thing to have is a top plate who is against that, so it can't be pressed backwards. Or like on the 1/8 here, it's screws on, so you have 2 screws underneath and 2 screws here to hold it in place. That means that plates reinforce that, who reinforce that. And here we have it not, and the car is heavier, so I can do something easy here to protect it, but for the first run I'm gonna let it stuck. I want to see what happens if this alloy is still so soft. Then at the 1/8 scale, if I hit something, I really fast gonna bend it. So we want to see what happens. I hope no. Central diff has an alloy case, because that's a problem for the 1/8 scale. The plastic is bad, so if you begin to let it spin and go on heat, the cross in the differential make his way through the plastics. That's also something we are used in RC. Many brands have had this issue back in the time. So it's really cool. You can get this part optional for front and rear. I would say the diffs are absolutely not bigger. It's not 1/7 scale, it's just stock 1/8 scale size. They made new dog bones in CVD. I hope it's better than before. Before we had like by Corelli stuff who bends, and like by Hobbytech stuff here who or Corelli has the same issue on the V1 that the nuts were too soft. So the other issue was the bearing here begins to be hot and make his way through the plastics, so you destroy the rear main gear in the first time, then the front. So they have done here a metal insert in the plastic. The plastic is also a little bit better than that. We have flexier stuff here, but at front and rear we feel a little bit better. I hope it's just not just a feeling, I hope it's gonna be real better. Good idea also from them. We have not a long dog bone who gonna make we have two shorter dog bones. That's also a good idea. I think it's the better way, because on the infraction with these two bearing, this is not mechanical. Okay, this is just a breakdown, fast repair, but it's not something, it's not a real solution at long time to just put two bearing on a CVD or dog bone to provide him to shake. I love they extruded the chassis, looks nice. If it's useful, I don't know. Lipo access is really easy. I like that. It's just easy, clean and nice. Not like in the infraction. You have here room for 82mm motor, no more. That's also enough for such type of car. I'm maybe gonna put 1006 to 1800 kV motor. They give you a 13 tooth pinion, so if you go to a 74 motor, be careful. It's a little bit too big, I think. With this gear ratio and this big tire, the car gonna be fast, but you're gonna overheat the motor like you do it on Armour and all that stuff. We see it many times. It's just, I don't understand the brands. It's okay. It's your fault. How many people first ask, how fast is that RC? My answer is always, just as fine as I have fun. It's just fast enough that I have fun. I don't care. I don't need to go 90, 110 kilometers an hour, especially in off-road. If I have a 70-75, it's enough. You feel speed, that's enough. And for those who want to go faster, they can do themselves a bigger gearing in there, and then they can go cook their motor and battery and ESC themselves and leave us alone. So stop to want to buy cars because they are fast. They have to work well, and you have to have just enough speed to have fun with that. So I don't, or I go for lower kV with the front tooth, or I have plenty of 74mm here motor here, so I'm gonna put one in there, but with a smaller pinion. That's gonna be enough for that car. So if you want to get one because you think it looks cool, you can get it. Keep in mind you have to check that no bearing is squeezed, and open the not open it. I open it to change the oil, but check out if all is turning right. Check out if you have not too much suspension travel, because the dog bone in the rear even are too short. Yeah, I tell you, in the front and in the rear it's the same thing. Here I'm just at the right place. If I let go the suspension more down, you see here, look at, I have no play, no free. You see, the dog bone is completely squeezed. Here you see still nothing. Here a little bit, and here nothing. So I don't want to go with my tire that way, so I have to play. I even had already put the dog bone out, and in the front and the rear cut a part off, because the dog bone is in the drive cup, completely in the end of the drive cups, and that's bad because you press here on the differential and here on the bearing. That means the bearing gonna die faster, the differential bearing gonna die faster, and you can even destroy the differential. If the drive cups is heat, because this is flex, if you hit on the side, the dog bone gonna hit the drive cup, who gonna press on the planetary gear, and you're gonna squeeze the satellites, or you're gonna bend the dog bones, or you're gonna destroy the drive cups. That's bad. Here, look at this, is really funny. Here we have not, but I have the same length here and here. I have the same issue in the front. Here it's go easy, and that side I have to set up differently to not have the dog bone locking in the drive cups. So that's bad, because that's gonna hurt the drivetrain. So you have to set the track a little bit down. It's a little bit boring, because you can easily get one, I would say, an inch more suspension travel in front and rear. It can be set it really with a lot of suspension travel, so you can drive it really soft and have the tires really spinning around. But you have to stop the air arms to not go too far down, because you're gonna destroy your transmission. Okay, it's high enough that way, but remember how I say, when you put all the electronic and stuff in, you're gonna go down. It's gonna be easier to drive if it's gonna go down, but that's not what I like. I'm gonna see if I find shorter dog bones for the rear. In the front it's gonna be not so easy to find, and I don't want to take the old ones here because they are weak, but I have more room here, so yeah, that's something I not try. Should I try it? Should we do it together? Yeah, that's funny. This dog bone is shorter, about 2 millimeters. You have your 105. Oh, that's the whole dog bone. That's not just the between axes. And here we have 102. That means if I put that one in, with a little bit rubber in the front and in the rear dog bone, I can have my full suspension travel. But we're gonna first drive it stock, and then maybe I gonna change it, especially in the front, because that's gonna end bad if you overroll. If you make the side roll and you're gonna hit here, the suspension is so flex here that it's clear that the dog bone gonna they are already, look at, it's already in the bottom of the drive cup. You see that? This one has a little bit free play, you see, but that one 0. That's not good. That's bad. In the front, same. I insist about that because I see many unboxing. I go look at it, and like any time, they just become for free the car. So they are heavy ass licking and tell you how good and nice and beautiful it is, but they don't tell the truth. And the fact is, the most of them even not know it. They don't notice it. They don't see it because they have. It's not that they have no RCID, but they have no mechanical skills to gonna see and tell you that. And even if you see it, they don't tell it because they get the car for free and they want more car for free. And I am not. I pay my stuff, and if I'm not happy, I put my stuff myself to the trash. That's what happens. 2 or 3 cars I tested, I really go to the trash and destroy the car. I put it in trash and don't want to see it anymore because they was crap. Especially ZD racing cars. So, I wish you a nice... I try to pull out this video on a Sunday, so if it comes at beginning afternoon here, you have 6-hour jet lags to America. So it would be 6-7 hours in the morning. In England it's like in France. I say also hi to all you Chinese speaking guys who are looking at my channel because you speak English and you understand what I tell, because I have many of you on the channel. So have all a nice Sunday. I hope you're gonna have time to drive your RC today, and if you are working, you cannot go drive. I don't think on you because I have free. Bye guys. And if you have one, ask me, what did you see? Did you don't see that? Did you drive it? Did it happen something strange about it? Did nothing happen? I hope really for you who have bought this truck that you have drive 20, 30, 50 packs in a row and you are happy with that stuff and nothing break down, because this brings me also joy. I don't like when RC breakdowns all the way, and I hope that's not gonna happen. Bye guys.